Yes. Oof. I had one mom talk to me. She's adopted all of her kids, and she is just she's quite well educated, knows a lot about reactive attachment disorder and attachment disorders and FASD and all this stuff. But all of a sudden her kids hit puberty, and she's like, why does the rad behaviors all of a sudden show up? And they didn't seem like they were there before. What would you say about that?
Well, so one of my pastors from long time ago broke it down so beautifully. And he says, you can try just about any parenting strategy you want, and it will work for about the first 12 years. At year 12 to 13, when puberty hits, you will know if you picked a good one or not. Because so the child, that puberty thing, adolescence, about 13, 14, 15, was a horrible time for me and my daughter. And what you can look at is those terrible twos that you go through. The terrible twos are all about the child discovering that they are a separate being from their mother. Up until that time, they see their mother as an extension of themselves. That's why domestic violence between spouses is so traumatizing to young children, because when a child watches their mother get beaten, it's as if they're getting beaten at the same time, even though nothing is physically happening to them. In their mind, they are being physically assaulted as they watch their mother be physically assaulted. So at 2, when the child realizes, wait a minute, we're separate people, that's when you start getting all the no's. And I don't want to, and you can't make me, and all this stuff, because it's like, hey, wow, look, I'm me, and she's her, and we're 2 separate beings. That same process happens during adolescence. But this time, instead of separating from the mother, the child is separating from the family. The child is trying to figure out who they are out in society, separate from and independent of their family. So whatever that level of difficulty going through the terrible twos will usually match and be a little bit escalated going through this separation process in adolescence, because it's the same basic process with a different subject matter.
Oh, okay. So what do you recommend? Like, what do you do for
lots of prayer?
What do you do for puberty? Lots of prayer. Okay.
I'll tell you with Sid. Okay, so Sid, this is my daughter. Her terrible twos lasted from 18 months to 4 years old. Okay, it was intense. And then when we got up to that puberty stuff, the only thing that saved us was the fact that when she turned 16, her dad had told her he would buy her a car, and then he didn't do it. So she needed a vehicle, and I was her only source. So if she wanted to drive my car, she had to be respectful to me. Because if you can't be respectful to me, how do I know you're going to respect my car? And so that gave me the leverage I needed for her to contain her behaviors. And that was our saving grace.
So you found something that was motivating for her.
You got to have leverage.
This is something I'm learning the more kids I work with. And we had talked about the aggressive or the passive ones. I find with the aggressive ones, I can find motivation easier. It's really hard when they just don't care about anything.
Well, and it was so funny. This was years ago too, in my very first office, second office. And this was a biological son that had been referred to me by the counselor at the church. And I'm talking to the mom. When back then, this is before I was doing neurofeedback, but I had him in a room doing a puzzle while I talked to mom, find out what all the problems are and all this stuff. And she's telling me there's just absolutely nothing that he's interested in. I mean, no sports, no video, nothing. He's not interested in anything. So I go in and I'm talking to the kid, and of course it's all on video camera. So mom's watching in the other room, which he is not aware of, even though the camera is not hidden. It's right there with the little red button on. So all he had to do was ask. And I say to him, I said, so what do you like to do? He says, I love football. He says, I'm on a team and I would like to be a pro someday at all this, but I love football. I'm like, really? I said, because your mom told me she didn't think you were interested in anything. He's like, well, do you think I'm a fool? I can't tell her that because then she'll use that against me.
Oh, he's smart. I mean, they all are brilliant.
They do, yeah. And so it's, when you have those disconnects, it's not helpful for your child to look at you as the enemy.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, and that work is done before you get to adolescence. That same pastor, what he said was the first 6 years of a child's life, and this is not attachment related, this is just general parenting. The first 6 years of a child's life is your time to impress upon that child that you are all powerful, that you are their connection to survival. The second set is when you start teaching them all the rules and how to succeed in life and society, and how to, develop a work ethic, find the things of value for yourself, and you teach them that. The 6 to 12 is all about teaching. And then 12 to 18 is where they take the things you've taught them out into the community and try them. And if you've done a good job, well, whenever the child struggles with something in the community, they'll come back to you and ask for help or ask for advice. And that's how we hope it goes.
Yes.
And anything anytime it gets messed up, you're going to run into problems. And I tell my clients, especially the kids at Miss B's house, because most of those kids are no longer, they don't have a family to go back to, just because they've burnt so many bridges, and just it's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for the parents. And a lot of times there's younger siblings that it's not healthy for. And so we talk about, you are 15 years old now. You've got 3 years to learn all of the rules. I mean, all the rules. We've now got you where you're successful at making your bed and cleaning up after yourself and doing the basic stuff that most kids know by 6. But here you are, 14. Yay, we got you here. But now you've got a crash course of 4 years to learn all the things that everyone else has 12 years to learn. So hop to it. But that's kind of where we're at with these children that have traumatic pasts.